Hello from Sydney. It's International Trade Week. I'm Louise Cantillon. I'm the Deputy Trade Commissioner for Australia and New Zealand, and I'm with...
Hi, I'm Claire Bull. I'm Head of APAC at Technations, based here in Sydney.
So Australia is a fantastic place for tech opportunities, and we're going to find out a little bit more about how you as UK exporters can make the most of that. So Claire, why Australia?
So there's a long-standing relationship between the UK and Australia, Louise, and tech is really at the heart of that. So Australia is really open to adoption of new technologies, and we've seen lots of opportunities for partnerships with UK tech businesses. Australia is also a gateway to the Asia Pacific region and a wonderful place to start to set up your expansion into the wider Asia region.
Thanks, Claire. If I'm right, I think you've just had a business delegation visit from the UK. Is there any insight or feedback that you can provide to other potential exporters?
Yeah, absolutely. So the similar language and low level of cultural differences between UK and Australia actually makes it a lot easier to do business than maybe some other markets. A lot of the feedback we've had is that the Australian tech ecosystem here has been really welcoming to UK companies, really looking forward to hearing the ideas, particularly in areas of net zero, in ag tech, across edutech, infrastructure technologies, really across a lot of the tech sectors. There's a lot of opportunities there. Also, with visas, it's a lot easier for companies to help bring staff to Australia and vice versa when they need to. One main consideration that I think surprised a lot of the delegates on our recent market visit was the effect of the time difference. Now, you and I both work across both markets, and we're heading into an 11-hour time difference over the winter UK period. And that just means some thought and consideration needs to be put into how you manage both your team members here and also your customer relationships to ensure that decisions aren't delayed by 12 or 24 hours if one or other country is asleep at the time a deal is being done. So I think that was probably one of the biggest things that they noticed being here in country.
Yeah, we all have to deal with that, and that's a really good thing to point out. Can you give us a few top tips, Claire, for working with Australian businesses?
Yeah, absolutely, Louise. And I think one of the things is I wouldn't mistake the relaxed attitude of Australian businesses for a lack of professionalism. So, you know, an interesting live example, one of the companies I brought over said to me before the market visit, Claire, I can't get any meetings in Australia. So many people want to go for coffees. I've made lots of coffee dates, but no meetings. And I had to explain to them that in Australia, that coffee date is a meeting. People want to do a meeting over coffee, over a lunch. They want to build a relationship with you, and that's really important here, and that is how business is done in Australia. And so I think something like that is an important thing to note between our two cultures.
I think that's maybe because you do have really good coffee here as well.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
it
true.
helps, doesn't it?
Totally.
Now, Technation has got a programme called the International Growth Programme. Could you share a little bit more detail about that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the International Growth Programme has been running for just under 2 years now, and we've brought 3 cohorts of UK tech companies over. So there's been about 30 companies that have gone through that particular program. And what it is a 4-month learning immersion. So before the companies come to Australia, they go through a series of masterclasses where they learn about how to do business in Australia, how to set up operations, tax considerations, all of the things you need to know before you come, learning about the talent market here in Australia, what it is like hiring and managing talent in Australia. They also go through a go-to-market fit, just making sure there's a product market fit for what they're looking to sell in Australia, that they understand the regulatory framework in Australia. And a really important part of that program is that they're actually matched with an in-market mentor based in Australia.
Wow.
So for example, if you're a UK cyber tech business, you'll be matched with someone in market in Australia that is an expert on the cyber market in Australia, and they can really help introduce you to those potential partners and customers and people in the industry. It's really all about de-risking that expansion into Australia for UK tech businesses. And it was wonderful that this time we were able to bring those companies physically out to Australia and introduce them to the ecosystem.
That sounds like a really amazing program that is really specifically tailored as well to a business. So how can UK businesses join the program?
Absolutely, they can join on our website. So it is technation.io/international. There's an application form there on that site. We do happily help any UK tech business outside of those program dates with entering into the market. So I'm based here and happy to make introductions and help them build relationships in Australia, even if it's outside the time of the cohort. So encourage people to get in contact if they've got an interest in moving to Australia.
That sounds like a really fantastic program, Claire, and it makes me think it really complements some of the other activities that we've got here in market, such as the FinTech Bridge and the Space Bridge. But it would be remiss of me not to mention the Free Trade Agreement.
Absolutely.
Which will come into force early next year. It's going to be the first free trade agreement in the world to have an innovation chapter. But one of the other elements of it that I think will really support entry for tech companies is around mobility. It will provide more freedom for companies to bring across staff and resources and that expertise as and when is needed. I think that is also quite relevant to Sydney, as I see more and more UK companies thinking about Sydney as that APAC hub. And you mentioned you covered APAC as well, so maybe you could just give a flavour of what is out there to support companies in the wider Asia Pacific.
Yeah, absolutely, Louise. So the International Growth Program that I just went through earlier is actually available in Singapore, Japan and Korea. So we run very similar programs in that market for UK companies, helping them familiarise themselves with those markets. We actually also ran a market mission in Singapore the week before we did in Australia. So we're trying to give opportunities for UK companies to get an understanding of the entire region.
That's fabulous, and that is all supported by Department of International Trade teams in all of those countries too. So Claire, really thanks for coming in to see us today and to share that information about your activity here. There's obviously huge opportunities in the tech sector in Australia and wider APAC. So if you're looking to expand, please do get in touch with us. We're looking forward to hearing from you.